Welcome to Jets Overtime, presented by SiriusXM. Eric Allen and Quincy Enunwa here inside the studio. The New York Jets are 5-2. That is 4 games in a row as they go to Denver, mile high, and they take down the Broncos 16-9. The naysayers will say it wasn't pretty. I say every win is beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can't complain about a win. A win is a win on the column. Nobody's paying attention to all that other stuff. Who was the quarterback? What are all the stats and everything? It's a win, and that's going to help you make the playoff race.
All right, let's bring in Anthony Becht right now, shall we? Anthony, a gritty performance from the Jets. They knew that they were going to be in a dogfight against a Denver Broncos team who has an elite defense. The Jets matched them defensively, and they withstood a number of key injuries on the offensive side of the ball.
No doubt. Jets defense was unbelievable today. I mean, you'd like to see a little more pressure getting to the quarterback, in particular a guy like Brett Rippon, who hasn't had a ton of snaps, obviously, this season, to disrupt him, in particular late in the game. But, man, the secondary, the linebacker play, in particular the secondary play was phenomenal today. Just pass breakups, the technique by the corners, to me, I love it. There's nothing that pains me more than watching DBs not get their head around, grab or pull or jump all over a wide receiver when they're already in position. Reed, Sauce, Joyner, these guys did a heck of a job. Yeah, they're fighting that contact, but you know what, the one thing the DBs are doing is getting their head around and showing they're looking for the football, and they got really good skill at that point. So technically that's great to see. And they saved the day. And quite frankly, let's give Greg the leg a big hand for today. I mean, this offense struggled all day long, and we'll get into that, the ups and downs of this offense throughout this broadcast. But to kick a field goal, make them all in those conditions, quite frankly, is phenomenal. The wind, both sides kicking on each end, the different types of trajectory, where you have to send the kick to go left or right and play the wind a little bit. I thought it was great. If there's any place that's hard to kick and you're going to make them all, I would say that you get a little leeway at this place, and Greg DeLeg was able to come through and make that a 7-point lead, which was ultimately huge when you're talking about what you were forcing the Broncos to do in this game offensively.
Q, they call him Legatron for a reason. We saw that today when the Jets needed those kicks. Zuerlein was on the money. Let's get back to the defense right now. How good is this cornerback tandem with DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner? I'm going to put you on the telestrator later, Q, but these guys combined 6 PDs in all. And Gardner didn't just have the PDs. He had 10 tackles today.
Yeah. I mean, they just continue to improve. They continue to make plays. And I think it's exciting to watch. It's exciting to see what's going to happen. Anytime you have a secondary that can make the plays that they make, even without great pass rush, great pressure on the quarterback, I mean, that's a testament to their skill level. That's a testament to their film study. They made sure to get in the room and know exactly what they needed to do this week, who they were going up against, what their strengths were, and they shut those things down. It's not let's give it up for the Broncos receiving core, because they do have a talented core. The Jets just also have a great DB core as well. Like every single person was back there making plays. Even Michael Carter had a chance to make some plays as well.
All right, AB. We got a bit of bad news, no doubt about it. Sounds like the initial prognosis on Breece Hall's knee, not good, according to Robert Saleh. Elijah Vera-Tucker, the indispensable piece on that offensive line, he's going to have his elbow reevaluated tomorrow. Corey Davis, it sounds like there's less of a long-term concern there with the knee, but that was a tough day on the injury front for the Jets.
Yeah, I'm sick for Breece Hall. I'll be quite honest with you. I mean, this guy was the MVP of this football team heading into this football game, really all the way through this football game. This is a guy that came in here and worked his way up to being the guy. We know Michael Carter is a fantastic back, and they were going to share duties. But let's be honest, Breece was the guy and really the catalyst for this football team. And it really it's sickening to see something like that. It didn't look terrible and wasn't in a lot of pain, but clearly, the early diagnosis isn't great. We'll keep our prayers for him. This is a serious problem, guys. I'll be quite honest with you. Being 5-2 is great. Having that headway, it's not that it's terrible because you don't have any backs. You do. Michael Carter's great, but Breece gave you something with Michael Carter that was different, that was special. And, I know we're going to say next man up and all that cliche stuff, But if I'm the coach, I'm thinking to myself, man, like how do we overcome something like that? This is the guy that puts our offense on his back right now because our passing game isn't where it needs to be. And now you're kind of going from that to a really good backer, Michael Carter, but now the depth and guys that have actually taken snaps this year is a problem. So you have to find ways, whether it's trade or bring someone back that was potentially on this roster before that knows the system. But now that kind of changes the complexion, being on what this diagnosis may be here for Brees moving forward.
We're going to get to Caroline Hendershot in a moment, but Quincy, it's not like Hall didn't factor big time in this game. Right. He had 4 carries for 72 yards, and he got the Jets on the board with an electrifying 62-yard touchdown run.
Yeah, exactly. And, just like AB was saying, I think we talked about it even in the pregame. We had mentioned, well, they probably don't need to trade for anybody, but there might be an opportunity now if somebody's out there for them. I think it's going to be important for these guys. Obviously, we're going to say next man up, but there's a reason why Brees was started, right? He was a difference on the team. He's a guy that makes plays. He's a guy that you give that ball and he can make any type of play. You never know what's going to happen. Michael Carter is a guy that can obviously come in, step in, and make some plays, but he's just not that same back. And I think the dynamics of those 2 guys was important for this Jets team. So, going forward, it's going to be an interesting thing to see what they choose to do.
Defenses dominated the day today in Denver. Overall, there's a scoring summary for you. Brees Hall did get the Jets on the board first. The Broncos answered with a touchdown of their own, then a field goal, and they had the lead. But the final 9 points of the game go to Greg the Leg. Greg Zuerlein. The Jets take home a 16-9 victory. Let's go to Denver right now. Here's Caroline Hendershot and Jets cornerback DJ Reed.
Quarterback DJ Reed. DJ, what do you think of the defense performance today, only holding the Broncos to 9 points?
Love the way we play, man. Love the way we fight. When the fourth quarter comes, that's when we really come out alive. We still got a lot of work to do. Made a couple mistakes, but I love the way we playing, love the way we communicating, love the way we swagging out there, man.
6 tackles, 3 PDs for you, 1 clutch one right at the end of the game. What did you think of your performance today specifically?
Oh, man. Hey, more meat on the bone, man. I came into this game just wanting to, play good for my teammates. And that's what I did. I thought I did a solid job. Still meat on the bone, though. So undefeated on the road, excited. We about to turn up in the locker room, about to turn up on the plane. Jets win, baby. Let's get it.
Awesome. Thanks for your time, DJ.
Yeah.
You're watching Jets Overtime, presented by SiriusXM. Eric Allen here inside the studio with Quincy Enunwa. DJ Reed, one of today's heroes. The secondary overall, fellas, as we bring back Anthony Becht, really impressive across the board. I thought the turning point of the game, Anthony, was the interception by LaMarcus Joyner there in the second half. 10-9 game. Neither team was getting anything going offensively. You were waiting for that first turnover, and LaMarcus Joyner came up with it for the Jets.
I loved it. I mean, you're talking about, Broncos trying to get something going. Clearly, Dolchich was a guy they were getting the ball to quite a bit in this football game. And you're right, man, across the board. We talk a lot about Sauce just because he's the new face, the rookie, and Joyner now stepping in. What we really missed from this guy not being on the field last year, and his leadership and his skill on the back end. But, and Whitehead is, of course, too, being on the spot, almost had another interception in his hands on a throw down the middle of the field. But DJ Reed, I'll tell you, this dude is like a legit top-tier cornerback right now. He's getting a little less action his way. I mean, he's truly a guy they're staying away from. They're going to test the rookie. They're going to try and get those balls to those sides, being the lack of experience. And Sauce will have to step up and do what he's been doing. He's been doing a great job at that position. But DJ Reed, to me, is glue. I mean, he is there. Even on the catches that the receivers are taking, that one comeback that he had, he was on it. He turned around. He's right there on the spot. And he's a great tackler as well. I mean, 2 corners, you're 1 and 2 tacklers today. Just kind of an interesting stat there. But being that there's some quick passes and getting the ball out of Brett Rippon's hands early, they were on the spot to make those tackles if, in fact, those catches were made in those short passing games.
Q, we were watching that game develop in the third quarter, and we were wondering who's going to make that killer mistake at 10-9. and it was the Broncos who flinched. Great pressure on the interior from Quinnen Williams. That's the guy that we've come to expect making a big play. But how about LaMarcus Joyner, like AB just articulated? That's 3 interceptions on the year. He's got 4 takeaways. And oh, by the way, fellas, the Jets are 5-2, so that means they played 7 games. They have 8 interceptions now. That's eclipsed last year's total of 7.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about the DBs all day because those guys really just outperformed. I mean, they exceeded expectations. You know, every game they seem to do that. Every game you watch them, you're like, okay, what's going to happen? Last game they tested DJ Reed and he came up well. This week they tested him again, and he continues to perform. He continues to show that if you continue to try me, I will continue to do what I'm here to do. I mean, he's really the leader in that room, in my opinion, of the cornerback room. Sauce comes in, and he does exactly what he needs to do on the other side, and it's just a hard tandem. I mean, you got 2 guys that will really lock down their sides of the field. That's hard to go against as an offense, knowing that at any moment, one of those guys is going to make a play. Then you got obviously like you said, Quinnen was making some plays as well. Anytime you have an interception, you know that there's some pressure coming in because it just makes that pass that much harder to make.
The Jets outrushed an opponent again today. They had 155 yards rushing compared to the Broncos, who had just 105. And you take into account, of course, the Breece Hall 62-yard scoring run early, but the Jets did average 6.5 yards a carry. Conversely, the Broncos 28 attempts on the ground. They averaged just 3.8 yards a pop. Both teams struggled mightily on third down. The Broncos 5 of 16. The Jets, a week after going 1 of 11 on third down in Green Bay, just 3 of 14 today. Let's bring in Ethan Greenberg from Denver. Greens, you had an opportunity to talk to Jets center Connor McGovern. What did he say about this victory and how far the Jets have come since week 3 of last season?
The verbatim was leaps and bounds, specifically in terms of the confidence of this team. And he felt like the confidence of this group, still undefeated on the road, is what able to propel them to victory here in Denver. 16-9 final score, a really gritty victory. And Connor McGovern said that it was so loud in here that he had to scream even more so than he has in weeks past. He said that his voice, no pun intended, is a little hoarse. And so I think what Connor McGovern was saying was that this Broncos defense last year, this year, we've talked about it all week, very similar in terms of personnel, very good, and the Jets were able to squeak out a victory in their turf.
The Jets are going to cross their fingers on the health status of Breece Hall, Elijah Vera Tucker, and Corey Davis. Let me ask you about who replaced AVT up front, because he was a glue guy for this team this year, starting at 3 different positions. It's no easy spot for any offensive lineman coming in and taking his place on the line.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. The guy that replaced him, Cedric Ogbuehi, who signed a couple of weeks ago. He's been working in practice, and Connor McGovern said that he's a freak athlete, Cedric Ogbuehi is. He said he did a good job in AVT's place at right tackle. Remember, the Jets had a couple of options on who to replace AVT today, including Mike Remmers. They opted to go with Ogbuehi, and then that from there, Saleh said that AVT will be evaluated tomorrow in terms of how significant the elbow injury is.
Hey, kicking played a big role in this game. What did Robert Saleh say about veteran Greg Zuerlein? Legatron was money today, Greens.
Yeah, well, first of all, Robert Saleh, he's a little superstitious in terms of his special teamers. He said, knock on wood, that after week 1, in terms of Greg Zuerlein, when he missed a field goal, that he's been absolutely money for this team. And we saw that today. The altitude, I think, played a big factor in terms of punts when you see Braden Mann booming the ball. But in terms of Greg Zuerlein, we talked about it on Pregame Central, the wind gusts. It's a little windy still right now. And Zuerlein was able to be a key contributor for this Jets team, improving to 5-2 on the year.
Good stuff, Ethan. Hopefully you get a nice tailwind on your trip home from Denver. It's always better flying back after a win, isn't it, Q?
No, definitely. It always is.
Yeah, the New York Jets moved to 5-2 with a 16-9 victory over the Broncos. You are watching Jets Overtime presented by SiriusXM. Eric Allen and Quincy Enunwa in the studio, joined as always by Anthony Becht. Fellas, the drive of the game, it comes at the end of the first half. The Jets were trailing 9-7. They go 10 plays at the end of the first half, covering 48 yards. That drive culminates on a Greg Zuerlein field goal. Couple key plays on that possession, AB. A 3rd and 8 from Zach Wilson. He scrambles for 18, and then we're watching it right now. Michael Carter picks up 37 on a 1st and 25 after a pair of penalties. Looking back at it, this was a most critical possession for the Jets.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, you know, they really had nothing to go off of offensively, and you're trying to cook something up. The defense is playing well. You get those penalties, 2 of them, and you're pushed back. You're thinking to yourself, all right, let's not make a crucial mistake. Worst case, we just punt it off. You know, I just want to make it clear with Michael Carter. Michael Carter is special. He is a back that can do amazing things for this team, both running the football and catching the football. And he is going to be a guy that's going to fill in and have that role while Breece Hall is out. But again, it's the depth of what you had, and what made it special was the combination of both and the strength of how good the other guy was. And they fed off each other really well. That was a huge catch, a huge run up the sidelines. And you're right, to get the kicker in a position for Greg Zuerlein to get a field goal opportunity in those conditions with the wind swirling and all those different aspects to really knock it right through the middle of the goalpost was an impressive day for him. And that's something that ultimately, you know, really something they could fall into at halftime and say, hey, listen, it's okay. We regroup. We took the lead. We can make some plays here. Defense, keep doing what you're doing. We have a chance in this game, but it's definitely a positive going into halftime.
Quincy, a couple things here. The Broncos had 9 points at halftime. They finished with 9 points. And the Jets had to feel awfully good going into the locker room up at halftime, despite getting outplayed, I thought, by the Broncos for large stretches of that first half.
Yeah, I mean, the Broncos' defense was just very stingy defense. You know, they've had 3 games where they kept the opponent at 10 points or below. So, you know, going into this game, there's going to be a real cage match. That these guys are going to give you your best, give you their best, and make sure that they're really holding you to their standard that they want to hold you to. So, you know, I think the Jets did a good job of putting points on the board. You know, obviously you want to make touchdowns. You know, they had that one big touchdown, and, you know, unfortunately they couldn't get back out there. But if you can get those field goals, if you can be consistent getting into field goal range against this defense and putting points on the board, you know, that's the most important thing. And I think they got to hang their hat on that. You know, looking back at it, you know, you want things to look a little differently, but a win is a win.
A stingy defensive effort from the New York Jets. They totaled 8 PDs in all this afternoon. A 16-9 victory over the Denver Broncos. Of course, the 2 guys leading the way were Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed. We're going to get to the telestration in just a second. But next week, it is the Jets versus the New England Patriots. They're coming to MetLife Stadium off a short week. The Patriots host the Chicago Bears tomorrow night. The Miami Dolphins playing right now on Sunday Night Football against the Pittsburgh Steelers. You have 3 consecutive division games coming up for the Jets. The Patriots, then a home game with the Buffalo Bills before the bye, and then you will go to New England and finish off the season series. But Quincy, let's get up on the board right now. Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed were doing their things this afternoon.
On these clips from DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner, I'm going to be highlighting their play on Courtland Sutton. He really didn't get a chance to get off the field today. So what you're going to see right here on DJ Reed is a great play by him by looking into the backfield because there's action, but also making sure he's paying attention to his man. So this play goes off. You're going to see the action in the backfield. Play action. He's still got his eyes. He's looking through the man. He's looking through the man into the backfield because he knows, okay, I got to make sure I'm paying attention to this guy in front of me. They still try him. He's in great position. Great position right here. Great position. He doesn't panic. That's one thing that you got to highlight about these Jets DBs. They do not panic when the ball's in the air. They know I got to play either the man or the ball. And he does a great job of playing the ball here. We're going to see the backside here.
I like this angle coming up.
Oh, man, it's a great angle. This is one of the good angles, but this is the best one right here, right?
Yep.
So you're going to see him do an amazing job of getting his hands right in between the receiver's hands, and that's what you want every time. Look at this. Look at this.
Textbook.
Perfect. Textbook, man. It's a great play, great positioning, and he does a great job of making this play right here.
All right, Q, 3 PDs in all from DJ Reed. But Sauce Gardner was not to be outdone himself. He had 3 PDs.
Yeah, so Sauce also did a great job today. I'm going to show this play right here and then one more after this. So this one right here is a great job of just maintaining and knowing that I don't have to press on this play. I don't have to do too much because this guy is not showing me that he's going deep. So right here, you're going to have Sauce. We're going to highlight Sauce right here, Cortland Sutton right here, and he knows, okay, so on this play, there's 2 receivers here, but they motion one out. So now I just have a receiver here and a running back here to pay attention to. These are my 2 keys. The receiver chooses to run a pretty lazy route. He's not running off the ball too fast, and he's not pressing me at all. So Sauce sees that, and he's like, okay, let me make this play. And it's a great play, right? It's really simple, but most times when a receiver sees this look for him, he knows, okay, I have an opportunity to get this quick dump and make a play behind it. But Sauce reads it. Look at this. Perfect play, bang, bang. They can't call anything on this.
He's arriving once, as soon as the ball gets there. Now, how about this play in the end zone where he almost came up with an interception, but he comes up with another PD?
Exactly. So now we're going to highlight this one right here. This is another great play by him. What I like about it is he doesn't panic again. And also what he's doing a great job of here is he's prepared for the back shoulder. So if I can highlight this and slow it down just enough, you're going to see him looking for the back shoulder because he knows this team tries to do that sometimes. And that's why when you watch it on the other side, he's looking right here. He's prepared for the back shoulder. And the ball is kind of short, but it's not a back shoulder, but he's still in perfect position for this play. So Sauce, again, does a great job. When the ball's in the air, Sauce is going to be there.
He has a great knack of finding the football and having perfect timing, doesn't he?
Just perfect. Right here, look at him. I mean, the receiver was so frustrated, he tries to take him out of the play. It should have been a no PI. Great job by him.
Number 1 for the New York Jets today. 10 tackles, 3 PDs, and more importantly, the Jets come home with a victory after the game. Ethan Greenberg with the Jets' first-round pick, Sauce Gardner.
Here with rookie cornerback Sauce Gardner. Sauce, just a game like this when you know the defense is going to be called on time in and time out, what kind of challenge does that present?
A big challenge, but we built for it. You know what I'm saying? Our coaches do a great job of preparing us, not just the defense, but offense and special teams. So, we knew they had a great defense as well, so we knew it was going to be like a defensive game. But, their offense was doing pretty good as well, so we just had to step up and, make some plays.
The 4th down play at the end, the one in the end zone where you dove for it. Can you take us through that play, and how do you feel like you've played today?
I played decent today. It was a play I was just looking through my man to the quarterback, trying to locate the ball, but the receiver he was a little aggressive, so it was kind of hard for me to spot the ball. My face mask is all over the place, but I finally ended up just playing through his hands, and I made a pretty good play.
Coach Salah said on Friday that the team was expecting Russell Wilson to play. When did you hear the news that it was in fact going to be Brett Rippon, and how much did that change, if anything, in terms of game plan?
The day before, and it didn't change the game plan at all. If anything, we just knew that he was going to run the offense, throw rhythm throws and stuff like that. Russ out there, Russ have a lot of throws where it's not time, like he's rolling out to throw the ball, so that was the only thing. But we knew that was pretty much going to run their offense.
Awesome, Sauce. Appreciate it. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ahmad Sauce Gardner said he played decent today. Well, if he's got another level, watch out, National Football League, because this guy was all over the place today. 11 PDs now in his first 7 career games. He has a pass defense in each of the Jets' first 7 games, and the New York Jets are 5-2. It is time for our report cards here on Jets Overtime. We're going to start with you, AB.
Yeah, well, I want to start on the defensive side of the ball. They get an A for sure. I mean, that was an incredible effort today. The secondary was unbelievable. Linebackers, Mosley continues to show up and be consistently great every single game. From an offensive standpoint, a C-, and a couple reasons why, guys. Quarterback play, from a number standpoint, we're not great. 100 yards passing is not going to get it done from a standpoint of what you're looking for in balance standpoint. One positive thing is there were no turnovers, which was great to see. And, of course, the athletic ability of Zach Wilson allowed him to get really out of many sacks in this game. couple little things with him, his ball placement. If he gets his ball placement better, he's going to have a much better showing, a much better outing, probably get over 200 yards passing today, which would have been nice for some folks out there. And also, don't take those last-minute hits. When you get out in the pocket, throw the ball away. Special teams-wise, I got to give him an A. You know, to kick in those circumstances, regardless of what was going on in any other special team unit, for Greg Zuerlein to make those kicks in those windy conditions, in Mile High, the altitude, all that stuff. We saw on the other side, McManus miss kicks. So you knew a guy that knows how to kick in that place, and a guy that comes in on the road and does what he does, that's special. I give the special teams an A.
How about that, Q? A little subtle shot at you. Coming up, we're going to hear from the voice of the Jets, Bob Wischusen, with Zach Wilson. But Q, a little rebuttal here with your grades.
Oh, I mean, I'm not really worried because, I still won my all-in. But, we won't talk about that yet. So, as far as my grades, I'm giving the offense a C+. Let's talk about why. So, obviously, they didn't do what they needed to do. Like I said before, I start with an A. So to drop down to a C+, there was a lot of different things that I needed to see from them. I'm very happy that they didn't give up any turnovers. I love watching Zach with the ball in his hand. Sometimes it's a little bit scary the way that he kind of moves and does that reverse spin. And it's gotten him in trouble a few times, but he does a good job of not turning the ball over, and he doesn't take too many sacks. Like, I feel like there's a lot of situations where he could have taken a sack, and he does a good job of getting out of the pocket and throwing the ball away. Some of it looks a little bit shaky, a little bit worrisome, but I think that will, as he gets comfortable and he grows and matures, he's going to do a better job of doing those different things. So, I gave the offense a C+. Then with the defense, I gave them an A. They did a great job. 3 pass deflections by both DBs, 10 tackles by your rookie starting cornerback, 9 solo tackles. I mean, that guy was out there. He was doing everything he needed to do. He played a complete game for a DB. So, just off of the strength of that, I had to give them an A. And then special teams, like AB mentioned earlier, McManus missed 2 field goals on the other side. So that just tells you how difficult it was out there. So for them to go out there, go 3 for 3, make those plays, they even had a punt land right at the 1-yard line. That's a pretty good game. There's some mishaps here and there, but, that's going to happen. I'm not going to, drop them for that.
All right, give me a C for the offense. The Jets totaled just 260 yards today. They got to figure out a remedy on third down. Last week, 1 of 11 on third down. This week, just 3 of 14. But, again, you got to grade fair here. The Jets did not travel with Elijah Moore. Corey Davis went out in the first half. Elijah Vera-Tucker went down in the first half, as did Breece Hall. So they lost a ton of guys. They did not turn the football over, and they could not turn the football over. That was the one thing they had to do today, and they didn't do it. So with that being said, that streak is now 3 straight games without a turnover. That's huge for this offense. Baby steps. A- for the defense. What can you say about them? The expectations are so high. One of the critical points that I have, and I think the coaching staff will talk about, too many penalties on both sides of the ball. That includes the defense. A- overall, took care of business against Brett Rippon. That was a struggling offense. They kept them struggling. A- for the special teams. The Jets had the best special teams in the National Football League, bar none. Okay? We weren't there on the ground in Denver. The winds were tough today. So a couple of those Braden Mann booms went into the end zone. There wasn't a 30, 40-yard return out there. I just think the standard is so high on special teams. I'll give them an A- because this team every week is so solid in that category. So with that being said, if you get A- effort every week on defense and special teams, you got a chance for victory. Zach Wilson protected the football again. Not gaudy numbers by any means. Again, missing a number of key playmakers today. Completed 61% of his passes, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Most important stat of all, he is 4-0 as a starting quarterback of the New York Jets in 2022. The voice of the Jets, Bob Wischusen, talked to Zach after the game.
Zach, you fought through a lot today as an offense. Lose Corey Davis, Elijah Vera-Tucker, and Breece Hall during the game. Elijah Moore obviously not with you on this trip. Take me through the second half and what how hard it was and how tough the sledding was just to move the football without so many of your regular guys.
Right. I mean, it's tough to begin with, even when we had those guys. You know, it's a great defense right there. We knew that coming into it. We knew it was going to be ugly. You know, the keys were don't turn the ball over, avoid negative plays, get out of sacks, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, guys took advantage of their opportunity in that second half and stepped up, and we put together some good drives there and were able to capitalize, you know, get some field goals out of it, you know, but still a lot of good learning for us.
Yeah, but it sounds like this was a conversation you guys had all week, knowing the kind of game that it was, and it turned out to be exactly the kind of game that you expected?
Exactly. You know, I want a few back, of course, you know, throwing the ball wise, but, you know, it's great to learn from a win, but, you know, it was grimy exactly like we expected.
How about a word about your defense?
Yeah, man, we're leaning on those guys right now, and they're doing a great job, and we got things we got to improve on, especially in the pass game, and so, you know, it's nice to have a defense that can pull through for you.
And final question, a word to Jet fans. You're going home 5-2 for back-to-back divisional games. What do you expect that stadium's going to be like next Sunday? Yeah, man, it's huge. This is big for us as a Jets football team and the organization as a whole, and I think big for our fan base when we go back into MetLife this next week. You know, I hope the stadium's rocking and everyone's there and every seat's sold out. Thanks, Zach.
You are watching Jets Overtime presented by SiriusXM. Eric Allen with Quincy and Enunwa here inside the studio. Zach Wilson, quite happy. He's every reason to be. The smile is on his face. Again, this Jets team went 4-13 last year. They are now 5-2.
Yeah, I mean, even though he didn't put up those great numbers, he still can take credit for the win. He didn't give the ball up. He helped his team put his team in position, and that's all you can ask for from your starting quarterback.
All right, let's bring back Anthony Becht. Time for our game balls. Anthony, you will lead us off.
Yeah, DJ Reed, we've talked of him quite a bit now. The secondary play, all those guys could have got game balls together, but from an individual standpoint, I think DJ Reed could have possibly gotten a game ball really every game this year, whether he was not being attacked because they did not choose to go his way, or when they did go his way, he made big plays. In particular today, the team's second leading tackler, 3 PDs in the game as well. Just an awesome effort from top to bottom. He has consistently been great. When you're a good player, okay, you're expected to come out and play well every single week. He does that. So put him in that list and category like a CJ Mosley, like a Sauce, and all these other guys that are doing it every week. That's when you know you start separating yourselves from just the regular players, which are really good in the league, and starting to raise the bar up a little bit on what you're doing to help your team win.
Joe Douglas should be NFL Executive of the Year. What a great find with DJ Reed, under the radar signing in free agency. He is a big-time baller. Quincy, how about your game ball?
I'm going to Sauce Gardner. Shame on Brett Rippon for trying him 3 times. I'll give him credit for the one. It was a short pass. He probably thought it was like a zone coverage. He might get a little dump. But the other 2 passes that he threw to Cortland Sutton, they're inexcusable, especially on 4th down. Right here. What are you thinking here? Cortland Sutton didn't beat Sauce Gardner all game. The guy had 10 tackles, 9 solo tackles, 2 pass deflections before this play. There's no reason to do that. There's no reason to think that that was going to be the play that saved the game for you. The guy has been performing all season. He's earned the name Sauce. He's doing exactly what he needs to do. And so he deserves my game ball. And he'll probably get my game ball for the rest of the year if he keeps playing like this, honestly.
Hey, let's give the kickers some love. They are football players, too. Greg Zuerlein, good from 45, good from 33, good from 40. A big difference today for the New York Jets. The Broncos had kicking problems on their end. Not Zuerlein. He was true. 3 for 3, taking care of business. He accounted for the game's final 9 points. Again, the Jets did not allow a single point after halftime, and when he was called upon, he was money. And the Jets right now are relying on their defense and their special teams. Okay, let's go to a little bit of what's happening in the social world after the Jets game, like we did last week. Okay, Breece Hall, he says resilient. Through all the trials and tribulations, Jets win. You feel awful for Breece Hall, don't you, AB?
It is. It's it's a tough deal. I mean, this guy's got a lot of tread on his tires in college. Not that he's prone to injury, but he's been able to withstand a lot of those big hits, those twists. He trains hard. He knows his body. Sometimes freak stuff happens, and that's what it was. And unfortunately, this is a big hit for the Jets. You don't make up for Breece Hall. I mean, he's a top-tier back in this league. this year, one of the best backs in the league, regardless of the year he's in. And he was only getting better each and every week. When you get 62-yard runs, okay, and people know you're getting the ball, that's a big deal. So it's a big hit. I feel for him. I hope it's not as bad as what they're saying it is. Yeah. But if it is, I know he'll come back strong. But unfortunately, he won't be around if that's the diagnosis, which could be tomorrow.
Yeah, feared ACL injury. How about Sauce Gardner? He was everywhere Sunday afternoon, and he got on social media after the game. Road Warriors. The Jets, of course, 4-0 on the road with victories over the Browns, Steelers, Packers, and Broncos. NFL and CBS. The Jets have all the receipts. You like that one, Quincy?
Love that one. Taking receipts.
And Darrelle Revis, the man who had the island here for the Jets. My day is so much better when the Jets win. Joe Namath, Hall of Fame quarterback, who obviously led the Jets to that memorable title in 1968, January 12th, 1969, at the Orange Bowl, a Jets victory over the Baltimore Colts. Funny thing about that Orange Bowl victory, they rode a run game and a great defense, and they got a number of field goals. Sounds quite familiar to what the Jets did today. I'm not saying they're winning a championship, but again, not much in the passing game today. They got a big run for Breece Hall early. They capitalized on a couple drives, a turnover, and Greg Zuerlein did all the damage with the points, but you didn't have to score too many points today because the defense was handling its business.
And that's what you want to look for every week. You know, if you can win games like that, I mean, there's really nothing else you really need to do. If the defense can hold the other side, special teams is performing where they need to, you know, the offense just has to make sure that they're, you know, moving the ball.
Anthony, what's next for this offense as we look ahead? Because that competition is going to get tougher next week. Yes, this was a very good defense, but in terms of being a complete team, I think the Patriots are probably further ahead than the Broncos right now, and you know the Buffalo Bills are a lot further ahead than both of those teams.
Passing game needs to get together. Quite frankly, the running game has been really good. It's been carrying this offense. It's not just Zach. It's everybody involved. It's the play caller. It's the line. It's protection. It's penalties. It's everything that's involved. You know, Elijah Moore, if you're watching this, get back on the field and let's go. This team needs you, okay? You know, they needed you today. You may have had a huge game in this opportunity and this one, and you got to miss out. It should make you mad. Hopefully it brings you back with a different mindset. But this offense has to continue to improve. The defense has done its job and done its part to help provide victories for this team. The offense has sporadically done well so far to make enough plays to do what they need to do, and special teams has been a non-factor as far as bad plays are concerned, which is a home run. So you're really kind of trying to feed off. When you get all phases now feeding off each other, okay, and we haven't done that yet you're 5-2, okay, you have a chance now. How you get over the hump? How do you become the playoff team you want to be? These next 3 games, divisional games, very good opponents, will set the standard on what you're going to be, but you're going to have to raise the bar offensively and at least match what you're doing from a defensive standpoint, because if you can have that, everything else is in phase. You're going to win some football games.
Great stuff this week, as always, Anthony Becht. We will see you inside the tailgate zone next week because pregame central will be at MetLife prior to Jets Patriots, 11 o'clock Eastern. And fans, you can still get tickets for Jets Patriots. We have quite a 2-game homestand coming up before the bye in terms of the Jets, Patriots, Bills. They started out on the right foot inside the division with that win over the Dolphins, but next week it's going to be something else. Anthony Becht.
Listen, I got to leave on this one note. Pick back up that scanner, Sickoff, with the tickets right there to buy tickets. Can you pop that on the screen? Listen now, Jets fans, this is a message, me speaking to you directly. You need to fill the building. You need to be there and show up for this team. You wanted this team to win games. You wanted this team to be in the mix. Be at the game and be there early. This team will need you. You could be the difference on a 3rd down play, a 4th down play. I'm telling you, it's a difference maker. It helps the Chiefs. It helps the Steelers. It helps the Green Bay Packers. It's got to start helping the New York Jets, and it's a defining game right now. This team is playing at home. When I get at the game next week, you better be in the stands early because this team deserves it, And I think it's a huge opportunity for this football team, for the fan base to get involved in. And I'm excited to see how they come out in droves. Hopefully they come out in droves.
And a passion plea from Anthony Becht. Get to MetLife Stadium next week. Jets, Patriots, huge game. The Jets haven't been in this position in a long time. 5-2, 4-game win streak. First time since 2015. The last time the Jets started off with a 4-game road win streak was 2010. That's the last time the Jets made the playoffs. With a defense like this, there's no reason they shouldn't be in every game moving forward. And everybody prior to the season said, oh my God, the Jets are going to be buried prior to the bye. Right. They have 2 games to go before the bye. And they have 5 games in their pocket. They got 5 wins in their pocket, Q.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't need to say much. You guys both gave such passionate responses. I think everything is there for us. I think, like I said, there's nothing else to say. They just fans need to come out. Jets need to continue to perform. And let's get a win next week.
Yeah, a bottom line, you have a winning football team right now. And sometimes winning in the National Football League, it ain't pretty. But going to Denver and taking home a W is big. And think about this 2-game road stretch. Before the season started, people said, you're losing in Green Bay, you're losing in Denver. Jets won by 17 in Green Bay. They held the Broncos to 9 points today. Hopefully, they get some good news on the injury front. But I'll tell you what, again, they can celebrate another victory. Plenty of work remains for the Jets, starting with division play next week. Should be a raucous atmosphere at MetLife Stadium. For Anthony Becht, Caroline Huntershot, Ethan Greenberg, and my buddy Quincy Enunwa, and a cast of thousands here at One Jets Drive, we're signing off. The Jets are 5-2.